My name is Ahmed. I am a poor farmer. A few months ago, my life was unendingly difficult. I owned only a small piece of dry, cracked land at the edge of the village. No matter how early I rose or how late I stayed working, my crops never turned out well. I had 3 little children at home, all under the age of 10. Many nights, the pot over our fire stayed empty. They had to go to sleep hungry, clutching their tight, empty stomachs. When my oldest son would pull at my shirt and ask me, "Father, will we have food tomorrow?" my throat would tighten so I could not speak. I would just ruffle his hair and smile so he could not see how my hands shook. People in the village used to say my fate was bad, that I was cursed from birth. Some even told me to give up farming and beg on the roads. But I never gave up on hard work. I believed hard work would not go unrewarded. Every morning before the sun rose, I would kiss my children on their foreheads and go to the field, saying Allah's name on my lips. I pulled every weed by hand. I turned every clump of soil with my own hoe. I worked with complete honesty and never cut a corner, even when my back ached so bad I could barely stand. I never let hope slip from my hands. This time, I decided I would not let hope die quietly. I went home that night and pulled the straw mattress away from the wall. I ran my fingers along the crack in the floorboards, the one I had covered with a loose wood plank 3 years before. I pried the plank up with my knife. Out came every coin I had stashed away, every penny I had saved from small odd jobs, every coin I had skipped buying bread to tuck away. I counted them 3 times, sitting by the dying fire, while my children slept on the other side of the room. It was all I had, every last bit of security I owned. I did not hesitate. I wrapped the coins in a scrap of cloth, tied it tight to my belt, and walked to the market at dawn the next day. I bought the best high-quality seeds the seller had, the ones I had never been able to afford before. I bought 3 full bags of fortified fertilizer, heavy enough to make my shoulders ache as I hauled them home. I hauled the supplies 1 bag at a time, stopping every 100 steps to catch my breath. When I passed through the village on my second trip, the villagers noticed the new sacks. They stopped talking and stared. Then they laughed at me from the side of the road. One old man leaned on his walking stick and called out, "What if the crops fail again? You'll end up with nothing but debt." I did not stop. I did not argue. I just nodded my head, adjusted the weight of the bag on my shoulder, and kept walking toward my field. I had made my choice. I was ready to see it through. I planted the seeds the next morning, 1 hole at a time, spacing each exactly as the seed seller instructed. I mixed the fertilizer into the soil by hand, turning every inch until my fingers were sore and my back throbbed. When the last seed was covered, I stood at the edge of the field and waited. I checked the sky every hour, felt the dryness of the air on my cheeks, and held my breath. For years, the rain had either come too late, washed the young seeds away, or stopped too soon to let them root. I knew luck could still turn against me. I did not sleep well that first week. I woke at dawn every day and walked to the field before the sun cleared the hills. I knelt in the soil and brushed the top layer away with my fingertips, searching for the first sign of green. On the 7th morning, I found it. A tiny, pale green sprout pushed through the dark soil, no bigger than my thumbnail. My heart jumped. I stayed on my knees for 5 full minutes, just staring at it, afraid it would vanish if I looked away. That night, the first clouds rolled in. I sat on my porch and listened to the wind pick up, and smelled the rain coming before it hit. It started soft, a light drizzle that seeped slow into the ground. It did not rush. It did not roar. It fell steady through the night and stopped only after the soil had drunk its full. When I walked the field the next morning, the ground was darker, heavier, more alive than I had ever felt it. More sprouts pushed through, one after another, row after row. Every day they grew. Stalks thickened, leaves unfurled, spread wide and deep to catch the sun. Every evening after work, I walked between the rows. I brushed the broad, cool leaves with my palm, checked the undersides for pests, pulled any stray weed that dared take root. Every day, the crops stood taller, greener, straighter under the sky. Every time I looked at them, the tight knot of worry in my chest loosened a little more. My hope grew right along with them, strong and steady, pushing through the hard soil of all my bad years. 4 months of back-breaking work slipped past, day by day, and the harvest finally came. I walked to the field at dawn, my hoe over my shoulder, and stepped between the first rows. I stopped. I could not move. I could not speak. I stared out across the expanse of my land, and I could not believe my own eyes. These were the best crops I had ever seen in my whole life. I walked forward, slow, like I was approaching something that might vanish if I startled it. I reached out and wrapped my hand around a corn cob. It was fat and firm, full to bursting with plump kernels. I pulled back the husk of a second one, and it was just the same. I turned to the wheat rows, and the heads bent heavy under the golden sun. So thick they blocked my view of the far edge of the field. It was more than I had dared to hope for. Even I, who had tended every stalk with my own hands, was surprised. I walked back to the village before the sun reached its peak, and hired 2 strong young boys to help me harvest. We worked from mid-morning until the sun dipped below the hills, cutting stalk after stalk, loading every bundle onto the cart I had borrowed from a neighbor. The next morning, we hauled the entire harvest to the village market. I set up my stall, and before the day was out, every last bundle was sold. The price I got was 3 times higher than I had ever expected. For the first time in 10 years, I walked home with a full, heavy pouch of coins jangling against my hip. I bought all the supplies I needed and slung everything over my shoulders. Walked toward home, my steps light. That night, we sat around our wooden table and ate until our bellies were stretched full. After dinner, my children ran around the yard laughing, showing off their new things to each other. They chased each other through the yard, their feet hitting the hard dirt, their voices bouncing off the walls of the house. When they grew tired, I herded them to their beds and pulled the thin blankets up to their chins. That night, they did not fall asleep clutching empty stomachs, quiet with hunger. They fell asleep with full bellies and soft smiles on their faces. I stood by the bedside, one hand resting on the edge of the frame, and watched them breathe. Warm tears ran down my cheeks, slow, one after another. This time, they were not tears of pain or shame. They were tears of gratitude. Today, I have enough to feed my family and save for the future. I no longer go to bed hungry, but I will never forget those cold, empty nights. I have learned one thing I will carry with me for the rest of my life. If a person works hard, keeps his honesty, and trusts in Allah, even the hardest, darkest times can turn into something good.